The White Guard. By Mikhail Bulgakov. The White Guard is a novel by 20th-century Russian writer Mikhail Bulgakov. The novel contains many autobiographical elements. It is set in Kiev during the Russian Revolution and tells the story of the Turbin family and the war's effect on the middle classes, not workers. The story was not seen as politically correct, and thereby contributed to Bulgakov's lifelong troubles with the Soviet authorities. It was, however, a well-loved book. And the novel was turned into a successful play at the time of its publication in 1967. After graduating from Kiev University, Mikhail Bulgakov would go on to decide his future lie in literature rather than practicing as a doctor, during which he witnessed the horrors of the Russian Civil War. Bothered though by the censors and political unrest, Bulgakov would write to Stalin asking to be allowed to emigrate, if he couldn't make a living as a writer in the USSR. And the word goes Stalin actually phoned him up offering a job in the Moscow Arts Theatre instead. Similar to that of revolutionary writer Victor Serge. Bulgakov's work only saw the light of day posthumously. Safe to say, thank God it did. Not as well known as his most recognizable The Master and Margarita. The White Guard is certainly closer to non-fiction, and built on Bulgakov's own experiences during the turmoil and unpredictability of conflict. The story takes place in a snow-covered Kiev, 1918, turning the spotlight on the once wealthy Turbin family. After their mother passes away, the three children of Dr. Alexei, the oldest, Elena, 24, and 17-year-old Nikolka face up the fact of a new regime, as Bolsheviks, Socialists and Germans fight for total control over the city. Elena's husband Captain Tolberg would leave for battle. As the household enters a fragile and worrying time, the city itself is vivid to the eyes, as confusion grows on the streets as to who is fighting with who. Through all its unorganized chaos, Bulgakov does a grand job of showing just that, the chaos. Nothing is ever perceived clear as to what is actually going on, in terms of leadership. Bulgakov asserted that Kiev changed hands some 14 times in little over a year, and could have written an epic Tolstoyish novel that covers more ground, but this is more of a snapshot. A panoramic view, moving from character to character at regular intervals, and its length pleased me fully. The departing German Imperial Army led by the Hetman of Ukraine are replaced by opportunist leader Petli Ura's supposed rise to power, whilst the Ukrainian nationalist movement along with the White Guard, supporters of the Tsar, jostle in the background. Both brothers Alexei and Nikolka are White Guard officers who place their lives in danger as change takes shape. There is no doubt Bulgakov pokes fun at both Petli Ura and Hetman for their weak inabilities, and the sheer waste of life, youth and energy sacrificed in fighting. And Bulgakov seems to foresee tribulations yet to come. The novel is very military regarding the narrative, not all the time, but when things get going in terms of the different forces involved, Bulgakov clearly knows his stuff. Corruption is rife, anti-Semitism is high, and the various armies struggle with personnel and supplies during some seriously cold weather. But the household of the Turbins still remains central to the story, which provides the humane touch, although it doesn't feature as often during the middle third. Elena waits for news on husband and one of the brothers who failed to return home, whilst friends of the family come and go, each with their own problems. The Turbins do side with Tsar, but there isn't any real political stance from Bulgakov's viewpoint. As normal life is trying to continue, people get up for work, mingle out shopping. Kids play out in the snow little realizing what's happening around them, and folk gather to talk rumors that spread like wildfire. There are gaps in between the conflict where Bulgakov clearly shows his love for Kiev. The ancient cathedral sits graceful. The huge statue of Saint Vladimir overlooks the city holding aloft the cross, whilst a blanket of snow wistfully settles on the homes and buildings below, creating a whiteness through dark times. Bulgakov presents a glimpse of the fear, confusion and death that faced so many, and he does it exceptionally well. The snow would melt, the grass would grow, and the sun would rise to dry the blood of battle. But sadly 100 years on, not much has changed. Divided territories are still the recipe for disaster, where loved ones will not be returning to loved ones, and all for what? This novel is also amazingly well structured, casting out a bewildering array of narrative threads that are all woven together into a tight, immaculate narrative tapestry. The novel ends with a virtuoso display of oniric head-hopping which culminates in a passage which shows where the true strength of this novel lies, not in its many technical merits and literary flourishes, amazing though they are, but in its strong sense of the pathos of human destiny. End of the review. Thank you.